I am grateful for the opportunity that has been afforded to meet you this afternoon. During the last 4 or 5 days, I have been visiting places which have afforded solace to millions and millions of people for ages past and which are going to afford solace of a similar kind to generations yet to be born. While visiting these places, I have also seen the great architecture, which is a speciality of these parts, the like of which you do not see in that part of the country from which I come. I have been reminded time and again of the greatness of those who conceived the idea of erecting these temples, of those who actually worked on them and ultimately succeeded in creating these works of perfect art. And I must confess that I feel somewhat jealous because I cannot find that kind of thing in the north to compare with these great things in the south. I do not regard them or regard you as different from me or from that part of the country from which I come. Therefore, I feel that our ancestors, our seers and sages, in their great wisdom, have bound us all together by silken ties, which time vicissitudes, foreign invasions, and political upheavals have not been able to cut asunder. And today, India, right from Kanyakumari to Kailash, is one, and God willing shall ever continue to remain one. We have had differences of language, of custom, of ways of living prevalent in this country for centuries, but underlying all these differences, there has been an undercurrent of unity, nay, of full unity, which has kept India together in spite of political differences in this vast land. It has been rightly pointed out by you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that there is a genius of reconciling different ideas which is inherent in our land, and it is that genius which has preserved this ancient land, its glory, its civilization, and its culture, which are even today, I make bold to say, not inferior to that of any other part of the world. Until, say, 2 centuries ago, our people in this country were in no way inferior to any other part of the world in any matter, be that in the sphere of arts or sciences. During the last 2 centuries or so, fallen far behind others now, with the achievements of material sciences, there is a general stampede in favor of material things. We are sometimes in a hurry to discard things which have come down to us from generations past simply because we cannot reconcile them with modern things. But I say with great respect to all friends who hold that view that the scientific spirit requires that nothing should be discarded and nothing should be accepted without examination or analysis. And I plead that there is much in our past which has to be studied and examined, the true meaning of which has to be appreciated, and when that is done, I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that we shall never have reason to feel sorry later. I have no doubt we shall in that event ever be able to look to other people with a certain amount of pride. For after all, our past is not to be despised. It is something which can inspire the present and the future. Today, the world is passing through a great crisis. Technical achievements in science have reached a stage where, unless and until they are controlled and guided by moral and spiritual forces, they will destroy themselves and the world. And there it is that our great heritage can play its part. But can we do that today? I am afraid not. We have to acquire that position for ourselves by reviving something of the past, by modernizing it and adapting it to modern conditions, and also by adopting something of the modern world to equip ourselves for the great task. Unfortunately, a great leader who understood the significance of the past and the significance of the modern world is no more with us. Gandhiji was in his own way trying to bring out a conciliation between the two. He had, I believe, hoped to be able to live long enough to give true guidance to the world at large. While he was engaged in the struggle for freedom, he refused to go to foreign countries because he felt that he had no message to give to the world until he had found a good place for it in his own country. When freedom was achieved, and if God permitting things had settled down, he would have been able to give his great message of reconciliation to the world. Unfortunately, that was not to be. The great legacy that he has left us is there, and it is for us to prove ourselves worthy of that great legacy if we can look upon our universities as centers where this conciliation would grow.